In this Unity tutorial, I'll show you how to make this simple dash effect for any FPS. So let's get started. So right here in my Unity scene, I have a very simple scene with a ground, a wall, and a player right here, which uses a rigid body and a rigid body movement script, which is very simple, which I just created. It looks like this. And then a main camera as a child object, which has a camera controller so you can actually look around. But to create the dash, we'll right click in the assets, then go to create and choose a mono behavior script. I'll call this simple dash. Now open that up. In here what we'll do is start off by deleting the comments, and then I'll add a public transform called cam. So this will be the camera transform, because we need to track which direction we look in when we want to dash. Then a public float called dash force, and I'll set this to 150. Then a public float called dash cooldown, which is how long we need to wait for the next dash, and I'll set that to 1 second. Then I'll also add a private rigid body called RB and a private float called last dash. Then in our start function we'll simply do RB equals get component rigid body. So now we have the rigid body. And in our update function we'll do if, and then we need a key for us to press when we want to dash, and I'll just do input.get key down, key code .left shift. So I'm going to do the left shift button, and you can of course do another button if you want to. Then I'll also do an and, where I'll write time.time is larger than last dash plus dash cooldown. So this makes sure we can only dash each second. In here we'll set the direction with a vector3, so we'll do vector3 dir equals cam.forward. So this will be the direction, and then we can do dir.y equals 0. So we basically flatten the dash so we cannot dash up or down, but we can only dash to the sides. But if you don't want this, just delete this part, and then we'll do dir.normalized. And then we'll do dir.normalize. And lastly we'll do rb.addForce, where we'll input dir, comma, force mode, .impulse, and set last dash to time.time. Then we will also add a public bool called isDashing, which will be set true in here. And then right under that we can do if time.time is larger than last dash plus 0.2, we could say, so our dash will last for 0.2 seconds. Then we can set isDashing to false and just multiply with dash force. Then in our movement script, where we update the linear velocity, we need to make sure that we don't update it while we are dashing. So right where we update that, wherever you do that, we'll make sure to do if get component simple dash .isDashing, and that should be false, so add an exclamation mark in front of that. So now we basically check that before we actually update the velocity value. Now head back into Unity, click on our player, then we can scroll down and drag our dash script onto the player. Then we need to set the transform of the camera, so just drag the main camera, which is on the player, onto here. And now set the value to something like 100. And that's a bit too much, so let's set it to 25 maybe. Yeah, like so. So now we have a cool dash effect. And yeah, I hope you liked this simple tutorial. Also, if you're a beginner in Unity and you want to learn to make games way quicker, then check out my paid community, where you go from a complete beginner all the way to an intermediate who can make 2D and 3D games. There's a 7-day free trial in there, so go check it out. There's a link for that in the description. So yeah, have an amazing day.